I'm in Las Vegas with Amazon Web Services at their annual reInvent conference as they reveal more detail about their latest AI investments. In this episode, I sit down with some of their global executives to discuss why they're playing to win across the entire AI stack.
We will continue to invest in this because it's such an exciting time, but it's also such an early days in the technology cycle.
How does this increase competition within the model application space?
These Nova models give the best cost-performance ratio, and that's what's most important.
Big tech companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Meta are going all in on artificial intelligence.
Meta AI now has nearly 600 million monthly actives and, as promised, is on track to be the most used AI assistant in the world by the end of the year.
They each have their own AI labs or have made major investments into third parties, working towards achieving artificial general intelligence. Google procured DeepMind, which developed the Gemini assistant, while Microsoft has invested into OpenAI, which is best known for ChatGPT.
Simply put, Microsoft loves OpenAI.
And Amazon is investing in its competitor, Anthropic, which has the AI chatbot Claude. Big tech want to make AI more accessible to everyday users like us, and enterprises like big business and governments. But even Amazon's CEO has been surprised that the best known models have not always been the most popular.
We gave our builders freedom to pick what they want to do. And I figured that almost everybody would end up using Anthropic's Claude models because they're the very best performing models in the world, and have been for the last year or so. And by the way, we have a lot of our internal builders using Claude, but they're also using Llama models, and they're also using Mistral models, and they're also using some of our own models, and they're also using homegrown models themselves.
So Amazon has been quietly building its own AI models, including image and video generators to compete with OpenAI's DALL-E and Sora.
I'm excited to share and announce the launch of Amazon Nova, which are our new state-of-the-art foundation models that deliver frontier intelligence and industry-leading price performance.
How does this increase competition within the model application space from AWS?
Look, we are very customer focused, as you know, and we are trying to give our customers the absolute best experience. And these Nova models give the best cost performance ratio, and that's what's most important. How do we give our customers the most value for their dollars? And that's what the Nova models are going to do. And our customers have been begging us for multimodal support, image and video and audio, and converting to text, and many to many, as Andy mentioned, is coming next year, and also real-time text. And that's what we're really focused on. And I think we're giving our customers options to give them the best possible experience and give them the ability to get the best possible insights into their data.
I'm interested to know more about cost, and I don't, for commercial reasons, expect you to tell me exactly how much these models are going to cost when people start using them. But how much pressure does this actually place on generative AI models out there at the moment?
So I am not an expert on the foundational models, but what I will say is I think over time, you are going to see models become smaller and more specialized.
Amazon's move is part of a shift where competition is rapidly growing between AI models, from a stronghold once only occupied by OpenAI and Google. Now the next development of AI agents begins.
The way I would think about it is today, you kind of have to be in front of the computer to get insights on your data, right? You got to ask questions and prompt it and get these results back. What you will see that in 2025 is these things are going to go to work for you while you're out of the office, right? You're going to go to sleep, and these agents are going to be looking at your customer data, looking at your revenue, looking at your financial data, and you're going to come in the office in the morning and you're going to get an analysis of what happened and what you have to focus on for the day. And it's going to make your life easier even when you step away from the office. And I think that's what the shift is going to be in 2025.
To understand why companies like Amazon are getting involved in every layer of the AI stack, I sat down with Amazon Web Services Global Head of Data and AI to understand its strategy and the biggest bottlenecks getting in the way of more AI adoption. Talk me through the rate of adoption that you're seeing in AI and how it compares to previous cycles that you've experienced.
Yeah, actually, having been in early days of AWS when we were building these technologies like S3 or RDS or Dynamo, which are like really like the core building blocks of what cloud as it exists today is, in many ways where we are with AI reminds me of like early days of AWS. In a way, so much innovation happening at such a rapid pace, but yet the rate of adoption is like incredible in terms of already if you see our AWS AI ML services, hundreds of thousands of customers are already standardizing across all our offerings. And these are not just like leading startups, but also enterprises across all major industries and verticals as well. And the adoption is happening across, I call it as all layers of the stack, including people who want to build models like the likes of Luma AI or Perplexity or Reidy, to people who actually want to just leverage these models off the shelf to build applications with Bedrock, to actually being able to actually improve workforce productivity by using our GenAI assistant like Q. And it is truly actually exciting to see for such a nascent technology, which has been like took off only in the past 2 years, to seeing the scale of adoption is like really exciting.
I do want to talk to you more about applications and how AWS is positioned across the stack, but just with all of these AI aspirations, as you say, from enterprises in almost every single industry, as they rush to experiment with AI, it's quite critical that these enterprises have their own data fit for purpose. They need to get their own house in order, right, before they can actually look to adopt AI. What are you seeing in that part of the market? Are you seeing that they are prepared or unprepared? And if it's the latter, is that then driving demand for other core AWS services to help them before they can adopt AI?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you're really right in pointing out that I almost contextualize it as like 2023 was like year of prototypes. Like people were getting into GenAI excitement. They really wanted to see what works, what doesn't. 2024 is like where we are seeing productionalization or industrialization of GenAI. But then they run into real issues saying like, where is my data actually located? Is it actually the right data quality? And then they actually find that their data is fragmented across multiple applications, internal and SaaS apps and databases. And then they also have it on different forms across PDFs to video to images to audio. So all this data is right now not ready for GenAI. So what you're seeing actually, this reInvent we announced is actually making all this process super easy for them. That's why I'll give a few examples to kind of give you just one was actually like a common way for people to customize these large language models or foundational models is with a process called retrieval augmented generation or RAG. And we make this process easy to do. RAG is basically a system where, let's say I'm building a GenAI assistant for a website to serve customer requests, or customer service. If I send a request saying like, what is the status of my latest order? It actually, ideally what a GenAI assistant should do is pull my information on, hey, this is Swami. His last order was like the Harry Potter book for his daughter, which was the last
Great purchase.
So,
I approve.
and then actually figure out saying like, inquire the latest status, and then convert it and give it to an LLM to generate a response. This is how a RAG system works. Now, typically this RAG workflow requires a lot of things put together. That's what we are making it easy with Bedrock knowledge bases. But the thing what happens in the industry is these knowledge bases and RAG systems work really well when the data is really like in text form and being ready. But when it is sitting in, let's say, a structured database, like in a data warehouse or databases, which is what most enterprises have their real metric business information, or if it is sitting in a PDF or or an image or video, those are not ready for GenAI. We all know majority of data in enterprises are sitting in this dark, unqueryable data set across PDFs and images and video. And ideally, what people are asking for us was like, just like what ETL enabled us to do for structured data, can I get a GenAI version of ETL for my unstructured data? And that's what we are launching with Bedrock Data Automation. The ability to take data across all this multimodal content so that, and then convert it to be GenAI ready with a RAG or a data lake into structured output. So this essentially then converts all your dark inaccessible data. When I say dark, not in the actual sense of being bad, it's just has never been accessible. Now we are making it like really accessible for GenAI. And that is one of the big pain points for enterprises. We are excited to solve it.
Well, the fact that you are announcing new products within this, what you call pain point, I mean, that suggests that it is a real bottleneck for AI, right? So what's the lesson there for enterprise to take from that, given that the real value creation to come from AI will come from their own proprietary data feeding these models, right?
That's right. Actually, I say it as I think your data is your secret sauce to move from being a general AI system to actually like your company-specific, customer-focused AI system. And companies, at the end of the day, that data is their differentiator. And the ones who are actually making it super easy to wire their data to power not just their front-end like AI assistants and others, but also their AI agents to do some amazing, meaningful capabilities are going to be the one that will actually really be true innovators in this space. And that's why the big set of things I typically tell CIOs is now more than ever, data strategy is the most important thing. And when I say data strategy, it's not some vague thing. They really need to, almost all CIOs have data typically spread across multiple databases, multiple SaaS applications, and the schemas tend to be not documented. So having and let alone governance is not clear who has access to what. So being able to do it in a very highly centralized way without slowing down innovation is now more important than ever. And that's what we want to enable with the next generation of SageMaker that we just launched at re:Invent.
And also because of what's referred to as the data scaling wall, because these models need this private enterprise data to train on to become better, because you're running out of data at this point, aren't you, Swami? You've trained them on all of it, right?
I think that is one of the key lessons. When you think about LLMs or these foundational models, you're right that they actually are training on all the data that model providers have accessible, which tends to be almost like a huge part of it is publicly available data sets. But again, the key differentiator for enterprises is taking these it's almost like hiring a super senior engineer or knowledge worker with like multiple PhDs, let's say, as a way to think about it. But that's not useful unless they are very well trained on your company's knowledge and your company's processes and so forth. So what you need is the ability to actually distill and that intelligence to solve problems for your customers and for your backend and your processes. And that is where having your enterprise data and being able to customize it is actually so important. And for that, you don't have to train these models from scratch. You can take the trained model and fine-tune them. Or you can actually, just this re:Invent, we launched Bedrock Model Distillation. The ability to take the learnings from a large model for your company-specific workload and then distill onto a smaller model. This makes this process in some of our beta testing, we found it to be 500% faster while being 75% actually cheaper. And that's like a big deal in savings as well. And these are just some range of techniques, and you're going to see more and more on this run. But being able to do this at scale, this constant customization is so important.
Well, talking about doing things at scale, Swami, I want to talk to you about how AWS is positioning itself to create the most value in this AI environment. At the moment, AWS is doing everything from infrastructure, being data centers, right through to chips and your own frontier models with Amazon Q. But it is hard for any company, even one with the resources of AWS, to do everything in the AI stack well, as Intel is now finding out with its CEO resigning as of this morning. AWS has this enormous advantage in infrastructure, but it gets a bit more complicated and, forgive the term, messy when it gets to the application level, because you have Amazon Q, but you let customers use any model off Bedrock, including competitors from other AI labs like Meta. You've also invested now $8 billion in Anthropic, which has the Claude models that you also let customers use. Where do you think AWS's resources is best spent and its energy is best spent to ensure that you do make the most out of this AI boom rather than just trying to do everything?
Yeah, if you see our strategy, as you pointed out, we are investing in all three layers of the stack. That is because we had this deep-rooted belief that you are going to see adoption in all layers of the stack, and we are already starting to see evidence of that. Let's take an example of like Booking.com. They actually leverage our service SageMaker, which is at the bottom tier, to customize and build their own LLMs. But then they deploy onto Bedrock, and then they use the rest of Bedrock tools like knowledge bases I talked about, or guardrails and several other things to be able to actually build GenAI applications faster so that the data scientists don't have to build other things like knowledge bases and so forth. Now, this reInvent, we are also, as another example, we are actually launching like a new knowledge base index called Kendra GenAI Index, which takes the best of the world in semantic search with GenAI vector indexes and pairing it. And now, once you built it and it connects to more than 40 enterprise sources, including Salesforce, ServiceNow, many others. Once you built it in Bedrock, you can actually make it as a data source even in the Q business side as a thing. This kind of vertical mobility is so important for enterprises instead of getting locked in only one layer of the stack. And this is something that is so unique about AWS. And if you take a step back, I remember getting asked this question even in early days of RDS, saying like, you already have RDS, MySQL, and Postgres. Why are you building your own Aurora and DynamoDB? And it's because the freedom of choice is so important for developers and so important for innovation in early days of technology. And to me, that is the same deep-rooted belief also in AI, because freedom to innovate, at the end of the day, the providers who provide the freedom to innovate are the ones who are going to actually see long-term success. That's why even out of the gate, Bedrock was the first in the industry to say, no single model will rule the world. Now everybody else is copying our strategy. And we are also saying that every layer of the stack is equally important. That's why you see us innovating on SageMaker with all the announcements in SageMaker HyperPod, let alone our Trainium 2 announcements at the bottom tier, to all the things we are doing in the Bedrock, between intelligent prompt routing to actually model distillation, to all the knowledge bases announcement, to guardrails and others, let alone Q. Now, this reInvent, we are actually launching the ability to do a full software lifecycle development agent. So that means you already have the world's best coding assistant, if you see like SW Bench and so forth. But it'll also write unit tests and documentation. It'll also actually take care of things like doing security checks. And now it can also do things like mainframe modernization. What used to take multiple years could potentially be even, customers say, it'll come down to less than a year. That's like a game changer for many of them as they move to the cloud. They are like, now I can move more workloads to the cloud instead of being stuck in the old world. Same on the business side, on the ability to make all of that data accessible to business users. And they can do scenario analysis faster, saying like, hey, you can ask a complex business question, like what is the optimal free tier for a product I'm launching? And then You can have Q walk through, here are the relevant data sets, here are the questions, and then plot a graph and have them show the data. And it will break down all this. What used to take like order of months can be now done in less than like an hour. And the world is changing, and we all can be like 10x productive. And that's what is amazing. So we do want to invest in every layer of the stack. And the nice thing is each one builds on another. Just like Q is built on Bedrock, and Bedrock is built on actually our infra layer. So we find these to be like a very virtuous loop and a virtual cycle, so to speak, as well.
You say investing in all layers of the stack, but how do you decide when to build, like what you just told me with Amazon Q, versus partner, like with Anthropic or even with NVIDIA?
Our short answer is we do both. NVIDIA, as an example, is a great partner. And because, again, it is rooted in that freedom of choice is important at every layer of the stack. If you see, even in having built RDS or SageMaker and so forth, there we have learned over and over again, telling the customer, like, the answer to your question is X, irrespective of what your question. It never works as a strategy. Customers really, especially developers, want the freedom of choice and freedom to innovate. And then they end up actually picking the best tool for them. And this is what actually made AWS remarkably popular among developers as well. And this is a core deep-rooted philosophy for us. And that's why you see us actually creating differentiated things in each layer of the stack, while we also partner with others, and we want to make them successful. And we let actually customers pick the best in class on each of this, because the reality is different use cases tend to have different affinity. And this is how it played out in other parts of our businesses, like databases on the relational or non-relational, or on analytics, or Relayer, and we are seeing the same year too.
So to sum that up then, going forward with this rise and increasing aspiration within enterprise for AI, AWS is going to be the catch-all. Anything you want to do, you can do it with AWS. You'll be the foundation for it all. Correct?
We want to be the foundation to power all GenAI workloads, and we want to be able to do it and either by offering native offerings or with our partner offerings. And that is been the philosophy from day one, because we deeply anchor on the freedom to innovate, and it doesn't change. And we will continue to invest in this because it's such an exciting time, but it's also such an early days in the technology cycle. We honestly, nobody knows which model architectures are going to be durable in the long run. Nobody knows what things on assistance are going to resonate or non-resonate. So all of us have to work backwards from each of these customer persona and then find which problems are important to solve, and then actually provide the right choices in each of it. And some of these are too big a set of problems to not pay attention to. That's why being super thoughtful on which areas we personally need to invest and solve these problems. Because take, for instance, the mainframe modernization. That is a giant problem that the industry is facing. It is really slowing down even actually how many of our customers can even modernize their application and move to the cloud. And this is something we know we can actually solve with all our expertise in working with customers on migrating to the cloud, but our expertise in compilers and GenAI and so forth. So we have created this highly differentiated, remarkable innovation. But we are also doing it in a way that partners can actually be brought in the loop, especially our consulting partners. So we actually want to enable the broader community to move faster, because this is such an early day in the space, and it's truly day one.
I'm excited to watch you do it. Thank you so much for your time, Swami.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Thanks for watching Markets with Madison. If you enjoyed this interview, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. I do all of the research for these episodes myself, so your support means a lot. I always love to hear your feedback and ideas, so please drop any thoughts in the comments below. Now go put your money to work.